Here, on a small planet not unlike our own, live a race of creatures called Lumpties. For millennia, they lived, worked and played and had plenty of fun. Unfortunately, due to a freak galactic accident, their world changed considerably. The land masses drifted apart, some to the frozen north and some to the warmer south. The northern landmass became very cold over time, while the southern one became very warm indeed.
So we're noticing a change in what? Temperature, which we would call changing climate. Which one of our 5 tenets of a selective pressure? The changing temperature is now a selective pressure. Can the organisms adapt and evolve to survive or not?
The race of Lumpties was split into 2 groups, each inhabiting their own unique land mass.
Apparently the same species.
And so they became isolated from each other.
That's the key to this speciation. Is
Look at what happened to the tribes of Lumpties as their environments changed. Each group of Lumpties have adapted, over many generations, to suit the environment in which they live. This is called adaptive radiation. How will this change of environment affect their appearance? And why have these changes taken place? Over time, the Lumpties changed so much that they finally became a new species. This is called allopatric speciation.
Okay, so it mentioned the term allopatric speciation. There is also something called sympatric speciation. So we'll look into the types and ways of how things can become different species. But first, a little bit of background. This syllabus statements, there are 4 of them. So you are in large groups. And I believe on this one, let's actually look at it. There was so little and so many students that I chose to specifically assign vocab to a certain group of students. So your syllabus statements already posted, already ready to go. I made a pretty background this time. Students assigned to vocab. So this large group of students, your job is to get as much vocab from this unit, put it in the vocab Google Sheets, okay? So please complete unit 20, then, oh, also, because we're still a little straggly on the previous units. You guys are focused on the syllabus statements, and we are getting some vocab in there, but I definitely wouldn't consider it complete vocab. So since there's so many of you, do as much as you can for unit 20, then maybe go back to previous units and try to make them full, okay? So that's your guys' job, just vocab. Well, don't forget to check other groups as well, right? Your job as a group is to look at all the slides. But you guys are in relatively large groups here. This one I know is number 10. Usually we don't go past 6, but define evolution was so easy, I decided to keep it, even though it's technically a higher level standard, but something you need to know anyways. So yeah, you're in groups of like 3 to 4 for this short syllabus statement and vocab. What is the species? So the first part of your notes, it says biological species concept. So under that, I do want you to put defined by Ernst Mayr, 1942. We will write what the definition is, but I do want you to be familiar with this scientist. 1942, quite a while after Darwin and Mendel, but definitely taking into account some of those ideas of noticing that we do have these different species. So Darwin noticed the different species and proposed a model of how those different species came about. Ernst Mayr said, we need a definition on this. We need to define what exactly does make something different species or not. Is it time? Are you ready? Yeah. No, let's get this one definition. Okay. Cool. Here it is. A group of potential potentially interbreeding, meaning they could interbreed, populations with a common gene pool that is reproductively isolated from other species. So a quick way to think about this is it can't be a species. In order for you to be the same species, you have to be able to breed and reproduce. And we do have some exceptions of hybrids, and we'll talk about why those hybrids aren't their own species. But in general, if you can mate and produce a baby, you are the same species. Okay? The bubbles, hopefully you know what a population is. The bubbles are just there to define parts of this definition in case you need the help. All right, I won't be here tomorrow morning. I will be here tomorrow at lunch. I will be here tomorrow after school. I have another doctor's appointment. Why are you so full of water? Bye, have a good day. Okay, we'll figure it out. Don't worry. All the seniors? Yes. I can send an email about that. Yeah.